Two new features are generally available in AX 2012 R3 to help manage and control the pricing on a sales order. This includes margin alerts and a price details form to view the details of pricing, rebates, and royalties. Let's start with the price details. You must enable price details before you can view them in the sales order form. Let's take a look at how to set this up in AX. We'll go to Accounts Receivable, Setup, Accounts Receivable Parameters. On the left pane, we'll select Prices, and then on the right side, you'll ensure that the Enable Price Details checkbox is marked. A similar parameter is available in Accounts Payable Parameters to enable this functionality for purchase orders. After the price details have been enabled, you can view the price information for order lines at the time of order entry. I'll show you how to do that from a sales order. So we'll go to Sales and Marketing and open up the All Sales Orders form. We'll select an existing sales order that we created earlier and click Edit in the Maintain group. For any line on the sales order, you can select the order and then click Sales Order Line and choose Price Details at the bottom. This will open up a new screen where you can view all the details about all of the pricing and discounts, rebates, and royalties that are potential for this particular sales order. On the first tab, the Detail Fast tab, you can see the basic information, such as the item, the quantity, and unit of measure. In the Calculation group, you can see the unit price, discount, charges, and discount percentage, if there are any entered onto the line of the order. On the right-hand portion of the screen, you can see the margin information. If you click the Inventory Dimensions tab, you can see additional information about this sales order line, if there are specific sizes, colors, styles, and so on. The Trade Agreements tab will show any trade agreements that have been created for this particular item. This is useful, for example, if the purchase order or the sales order that you are reviewing does not have enough quantity to meet a particular trade agreement. You could use this information to see how many would be needed to order to get the next particular discount. The Agreements tab will show you any sales agreements or purchase agreements that are valid for the particular customer and item combination that you are working with. If there are any rebates that have been configured for your customer or vendor, they'll display in this Rebate tab. Likewise, if you have royalties for the customer, you can see the royalty information and which vendor that royalty is payable to. Potential trade agreements are trade agreements that are not applied to the order, but could be, perhaps in a different date range or a different quantity break. The last tab is for retail discounts, which is specific to retail discounts that are used with call center type orders. An additional feature called Margin Alerts is available after you enable price details. A margin alert is triggered when you add an item to an order. The alert contains important information about the item, including the price margin and item profitability. You can use this information to decide whether a price override is appropriate when you add an item to the sales order. For example, you might set up thresholds for the trade margins to specify that a threshold of 40% or more above cost is acceptable for an item, and 20 to 39% above cost is questionable. This would mean that any item with a threshold between 20 and 39% will trigger a warning. Any item with a threshold below 20% above the cost can't be sold, and the item price cannot be adjusted. Before you can begin to use margin alerts in the sales order form, you must configure the warnings. Let's take a look at this setup in AX. So I'm back here in AX, and I'll go to the Accounts Receivable Parameters form again. Underneath the setup, I'll click Accounts Receivable Parameters, And then I'll click the Margin Alerts tab, which is new to AX 2012 R3. To enable the margin alerts, you mark the checkbox. Then, in each of the fields, you'll specify the acceptable, questionable, and unacceptable. I'll type 30 into the acceptable, 20 into the questionable, and the unacceptable sales trade margin is automatically populated with less than 20. Next to each one of these, I can select a different image to be used. For example, if I wanted to add a red X symbol to the acceptable or the unacceptable, I can scroll through the list and find an image that's available in AX to use. I'll use the green icon for good, the yellow icon for questionable, and the red icon for unacceptable. You can select from any images that are available in the library of images for AX. Now that we've set this up, we can begin to use it on a sales order. So I'll go to Sales and Marketing and create a new sales order. Underneath, Common, and then All Sales Orders. I'll create a new order, select the customer, and click OK. When I add a line to this order and select the item, I'll type the quantity and scroll to the right to view the unit price. Currently, this particular item has no unit price, so I'll type one in. If you continue to scroll to the right, at the very end, you'll find the margin information. When you save the line, you'll see what the estimated margin is, and the margin alert will be displayed. If the item does not have a cost, the margin cannot be calculated, and therefore, you can see in this particular example, the estimated margin is 100%. It's important to make sure that your items are set up with an accurate cost in the item master when you create those items. Now that you've seen how to set up price details and margin alerts, let's move on and talk about direct delivery.